Welcome to another Tech Debate, the show where we examine controversial technology topics and you decide the outcome. I'm Juan Bagnell, senior editor at Pocketnow.com, joined this outing by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jaime Rivera out on the East Coast. How's it going out there, sir?
I'm doing good, but I'm gonna need to find you another introduction because I've already been the man, the myth, and the legend for how long?
But it works for you, right? I mean, this is a good moniker for you, I feel. This week we've got, in light of Samsung's upcoming announcement, we're taking a look at the father of the phablet, and this debate premise is the Galaxy Note is not a productivity phone. Now, do you agree with that premise? Do you disagree with that premise? Remember your answer, because that's going to impact the voting at the end of this video. I will be attacking this premise. Mr. Jaime Rivera, you are going to be supporting this premise. And just in the interest of continuity, because you attacked the last premise, I'm going to be going first on this debate to support my lovely Note here and to defend it against this terrible, terrible clickbaity title that we've created for it.
So it's totally age before beauty this time. Please go ahead.
Excellent. You know what? I'll support that because I'm younger and you're very pretty. So there you go.
Good. I've got the timer ready.
Excellent. We got 2 minutes on the clock?
Yes, I do.
Alrighty. Let me know when it's safe to go.
3, 2, 1.
Now, multimedia phones, smartphones, screens are getting really big, but very few devices do a good job of justifying why we need to use both hands to operate our mobile technology. I mean, some of the more outlandish giant screen creations here, but one phone has consistently been ahead of that discussion, and it's the phone that started off the big screen trend. That is the Galaxy Note. Now, we have an excellent reason to use two hands when operating a mobile device, and that largely comes down to the S Pen. I know there have been a bunch of, manufacturers, Steve Jobs, your finger's the perfect way to interact with digital media, but there are times you need finer point control than the fat pad of your finger. You're trying to scrub through text and you can't get to the beginning or the end of a word. You need to cut images out of a website, or you need to draw, or you need to doodle, you need to edit. This is where S Pen really shines, and it's the signature feature for productivity for a vast majority of people who need to get work done on the go. I myself, I'm a video professional. I need to cut video, upload, and the Note represents probably the best all-in-one package for that. I can shoot video from the camera, record off of the mics or off of a headset, and then when I'm going through my video editing app, I have the best possible implementation for navigating my video timeline. This is a wholly unique experience that only the Note can create. And on that, I believe I have made my case, and I will cede the rest of my time to Mr. Rivera.
Oh my God, I get an extra 20 seconds. You're so nice. How kind of you.
I'm very cost efficient there. Now, for your defense of the premise, Mr. Rivera, I will be timing you on my Galaxy Note 5.
Lucky man. Lucky man.
That's
is that the blue one?
No, it's the white one. Yeah, it's not as pretty. All right, sir, are you ready to go? I've got 2 minutes on the clock.
Please go ahead.
All right, we are starting in 3, 2, 1.
So the biggest question is, what is the size of your demographic, Juan? How many people actually edit video on the go or actually sign documents on the go, which is actually the only productivity feature that I was ever able to use on a Galaxy Note. So bear in mind, I've been using the Galaxy Note since version 2. I have been a big fan of the Note for a couple of things that have gotten lost ever since the Galaxy Note 5. For example, I didn't really want a large phone. I wanted better battery life. And back in the day, you would only get better battery life from a Galaxy Note. The other reason, really, it was a really cumbersome phone. Like, it had, first of all, the size wasn't ergonomic at all. And then the second problem with the Galaxy Note is because it includes a lot of productivity software, and this, I believe, is the key. The key is the productivity software. Samsung does a really good job with their apps. The big problem is these apps don't talk to anything. And so I would always have this problem where I would start jotting notes on the Galaxy Note, but then these S Notes would not sync with any services, or when they did start syncing with services like Evernote at some point, and that actually lasted for very little. The problem was that they wouldn't sync backwards. Like, it wasn't a two-way sync. I couldn't start something in my computer, continue it on the Note, and so it just completely defeated the purpose because very little services actually took advantage of the software. I guess the only service that right now takes advantage of the software is actually Microsoft tools. Like, for example, OneNote is able to take advantage of some of these doodles and scribbles. But this actually only started happening until the Galaxy Note 5. And again, the experience wasn't really the same. I'm not saying that there is...
30-second warning?
I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the option of having the S Pen. I consider it great to have it there. I consider it an added value. I just don't feel that it helps me be any better than how fast I can type on a keyboard. So I'm definitely not going to be scribbling notes. That's just one thing that I'm never going to be doing. And that's just my perspective. I feel that it's not more productive than your standard smartphone, except for the fact that the S Pen is something nice to have. That's me.
And clear. 2 seconds to spare. Excellent. All right, those are great points. Now it's time for a rebuttal. We're going to clock up a minute on the clock so that we can respond to the talking points from each competitor in this debate. Mr. Rivera, do you have a minute on the timer for me, sir?
Yes, I do, sir. 3,
Excellent.
2, 1, go.
I'm really glad you brought up demographics because it's something that I wanted to touch on. I feel fine point control can benefit pretty much anyone. Now, no one's going to say that the Note is an all-rounder phone. This is a top-tier, expensive, premium productivity device. But if you're a creative professional, fine point control is where it's at. And most phones can get most things done for most people. But if you really want to take your game up a notch, interacting with documents, like when you mentioned Microsoft services, you're going through an Excel spreadsheet, that's really tricky on the pad of your finger to see a full spreadsheet. And then also interacting with those individual cells. I will concede, probably not the best battery life, but if you want the best horsepower, Vanguard features, fine point control, stylus is the way to go, and the Note is the only game in town.
All right, 15 seconds to spare. You're a good man. Wow.
All right, I'm trying to keep us on point here, I'm trying to keep us timely.
On point? Really? All right.
Pun unintended, but pun achieved. All right, let me get a minute on the clock for you, sir. Are you ready to reply for your 1 minute rebuttal?
I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
So I come from the days of the Pocket PC where the stylus is mandatory. I get your point. I do agree that the fine point is something that is actually beneficial. Not in every case, but it is. I feel that a productivity tool should be able to be a tool. I never have to worry about the battery life on my drill whenever I'm fixing something, or the most really good Ultrabooks. What makes an Ultrabook an Ultrabook? It's the battery life. The biggest problem with the Galaxy Note ever since the Note 5 is a non-replaceable battery that you sadly, you don't get a better battery life when compared to other smartphones. What makes the BlackBerry Key 1 so special is really not the keyboard. I don't care about the keyboard or the feel. I care about the fact that that battery life is epic. Really, battery life is, for me, the most important thing. I hate carrying an iPhone 7 Plus in the city. I have a large phone and I have to be carrying a battery pack because I can barely scratch the day with it. I feel that that's the biggest problem, that for a productivity tool to be a tool, a lot of basic things need to be addressed,
and
like battery life.
All right, and clear. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, the pros and cons, the attack and defense of this premise. The Galaxy Note is not a productivity phone. Now it's time for you to decide whether or not the premise is true or false. In the upper right-hand corner of this video, you're going to see a poll. There are going to be 4 options, and definitely read through those options because it all comes down to the title of this video. Did you agree with the premise, and do you still agree? Did you agree with the premise, but then you changed your mind and now you disagree? Did you disagree with the premise and still disagree? Or did you disagree with the premise and now we've changed your mind and you now agree? Definitely vote in that poll. Those are your 4 options. That'll help us see who was more persuasive during this debate, and then also to answer the controversial question surrounding the Note: is the Note a productivity platform? Mr. Rivera, I want to thank you for your time. It's always fun to hash out these ideas with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. As always, folks, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for future debate topics. We've got some whammies coming up on things like headphone jacks, some politics. It's going to be some fun stuff to dig into and really get into the nuance, the nitty-gritty. As always, help us out with a share on your favorite social networks. For Pocketnow, I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell.
I am Jaime Rivera.
I'm at Some Gadget Guy on Instagram and on Twitter.
Jaime_Rivera on Twitter, Jaime Rivera on Instagram.
And we will catch you all on the next debate.